Hello dear students, I am here to give you a presentation and some guidance on how to write scientific papers and give presentations. It is very useful for postgraduate students as well as research scholars who are at the very beginning of their research work. The best way to communicate in a scientific community is by writing everything in black and white on with pen and paper, and this is the best way to take our research to masses, because then they will be open for criticism, suggestion and comments. Criticism is important because it gives the right direction. Suggestions we should try to incorporate. Comments we should try to answer them accordingly, so that if we are correct then we should try to defend our work also. This is the only means by which the scientific communities sitting in one corner of the world can connect to the other corner of the world, like in India, US, UK, France, Italy, Japan, any country, South Africa. You can just connect to each other. They can also connect with you, and we can just lead the society in a better direction, more research work, so that our society and our scientific temperament is uplifted. But still we can use these technologies also, like Zoom, Google Meet and Microsoft Teams. Any of these softwares you can use to communicate and try to build up a rapport with your fellow workers. Still we can use our technologies which we are using presently, like the Zoom app, the Google Meet app, and like you can use the Microsoft Teams, Skype. Anyway, you can just try to connect with people and explain what you have in your mind to a little group of people, like of 100, 150, 200 people, and try to become academically well as you should have full knowledge of the technology which is prevalent in today's world. And the last but not the least, I would like to say that whatever you write, whatever you want to convey, that should go and hit the reader's mind in such a way that your work and what you want to say is easily and very efficiently communicated to him or her. In order to make your research paper as well as your presentation more organized, you just try to make it tables, because tables are very clear and very defined, and the data is formatted with headings. There is always a heading, there is a significance indicator, you have a separate page, you take the full page to make the table, and the table in itself is self-explanatory, because you can, by seeing the table, you can very well understand as to how the temperature changes, or the catalyst change, or any other parameter which is changing with time, with heat, or with any other factor, can very well be studied and understood. The table has the following parts. It has the title, it has the footnote and the body. Title, where you write the comparative study of such and such thing. Body is the full table, and footnote, like certain items which you use in the table, you can just make a footnote so that you don't have to write it n number of times. Important types of technical research paper. First is the critical review. Review, like in case of curcumin, which is obtained from turmeric, it has got large number of antiseptic properties, anti-emetic, it is anti-cancerous. So because of widespread uses of curcumin, large number of research has been done, and these data can be compiled and put into one file, and that is the review. It needs a lot of experience and expertise in writing a review. Other than this, that is the normal research paper, that is full length, there's a letter, there's short communication, comments, there's patent. The writing pattern of each and every is different, number of words is different, the way you write, you present short communication. Like if you want to, you've done something something new and you just want to get it published so that nobody else in the other part of the world or somewhere else can quote your work, so you just put it into short communication. Letters also very short, and full length paper you can make it, there's a pattern right in which you have to make your full length. You have to check in your references, the style of referencing, the way you put in the result discussion, introduction, everything is very clear, and you just put it into your paper and you just try to submit it to the journal concerned and wait for the response. Common questions, problems, and apprehension. These points generally come into your mind that as to when a research student has to start writing a research paper, or when should a supervisor advise the student to write the paper. That means when your work is such, you have done certain amount of work that now you can write your work and communicate it to the scientific community. Who should be the co-authors and what is the role of each co-author is very important. Those who have contributed in detecting or any instrumentation technique which you have taken help or any type of help you have taken from any person in your scientific community can be the co-author. It can be from the same institute, they can be from some other institute from where you have seeked. The question arises, should this journal be chosen first, followed by actual writing? So first you should write the paper and then you select the journal accordingly. What and when not to write, are the referee's bias, referee's objections, criteria adopted by journals for accepting a paper for publication. How you should start writing a paper with a limited knowledge and control of your English. Start writing with pen and paper, take the help of dictionary, take the help of somebody who is near to you and is an expert, and then in due course of time you will get an expertise in the field. Do not ignore. The first draft should always be a pen and paper draft because there you have many possibilities that a number of thoughts you are coming, you can just cut it off, rewrite it, throw away your paper, and again rewrite. Then in due course of time, when you have full expertise of your English and have acquired reasonable clarity as to what you want to write directly, then go for computer drafting. And the best way is to write with pen and paper and try to read through what you have written number of. This is a cyclic diagram to show as to how you should write your paper. First write your paper, revise it, keep it aside for some time, and then just take it out, put it in a drawer somewhere where you don't want to see that paper. But after 1 week's time, just take it out, rethink, again plan and rewrite, again revise. And this cyclic process you continue for months before you feel that whatever you have written is the best what you could have done. And then take it for further advice to your seniors or your supervisor so that you can incorporate the best in it. These are the major headings in a scientific paper. You always see there's a title, which should be which is very informative, specific, and very concise. Few words are there, like 7, 8, 9 words, 10 words maximum, and it conveys the whole message as to what you want to say in your scientific paper. There's an abstract, which is read by large number of people because certain times your whole paper PDF cannot be downloaded, so people read the abstract and then if they feel they're interested, they just try to go through your whole paper. So abstract is very important, which is supported by keywords and an abstract, 100 words, 250 words, you can just write your abstract. Then you have the introduction. This is the key to the acceptance of your paper. So introduction should be very good. Then materials and methods, the techniques which you have used, the experimental part which you have done, and all the statistical procedures which you have used, all comes under material and Now comes the results and discussion. Results and discussion can be separate. They can be combined also. In results, as you write, we found that A was greater than B. The reason for it is given in the discussion because A was greater than B. Then the implication is so and so. We can write it together. We found that A was greater than B, which means that this. So every journal has different criteria. They want results and separate from the discussion, or they want it together. Or if they don't have any choice, then you can adopt the way you would like to do it. Then comes the conclusion, and you just see that the word I've mentioned results. It is not result and discussion, it is result. Then you write the conclusion and the references. The references are written in a specific style in a specific journal. If you are quoting some earlier research paper, you have to write in certain style like the name, the surname, as well as the page number, the volume number. And if you are taking reference of book, that has a different pattern of writing. So if you're taking some material from earlier thesis, it has a different style. So reference and styling is very important for each and every specific journal. The key theme is that first, when you see the paper, you read it from title and then just come to the conclusion. But when you write your paper, first try to write the conclusion first, what you want to convey, and then frame out your result in discussion, then you frame out your material and methods, then go for introduction. In the end, you write the abstract, and in the last, you give the title to the paper, which is when you have framed the whole paper, just then give the. Now comes the concept and the use of grammar while writing a scientific paper. One should use short, simple sentences. Don't complicate with words. Use active voice. For example, Mr. X wrote this research paper. This is active voice. Passive, the research paper was written by Mr. X. Active voice, we measured the electrical conductivity. Write it directly like this. Neither, you shouldn't write like the electrical conductivity was measured by us. There are many words that are liable to be confused. They are synonyms like site, site, and sites. CIT is a verb, SIGHT is a noun, SIT is a noun. And all have a different meaning. Affect, effect, decrease, reduce, decreases less than a number, reduces less than amount. Compare with is to examine the differences as well as the similarities. Compare to is when you consider two things are similar. Former and latter, if there are two things, the first one is the former, the second thing is the latter. Lesser and fewer, so lesser is in quantity, fewer is always in number. This is a pictorial representation as to how you can represent your figures, graphs, to make your work more appealing. Graphs can be a line, bar, or a pie chart. Photographs you can have like the CT scan or all. Then the flow chart you can make by diagrammatic representation. You can just make things simple. The most important thing which you should take care of is plagiarism. There are certain laws for it and necessity of avoidance. So what is it and how you can avoid it? Copying even a one sentence from the internet is plagiarism. So there are softwares which recognize even three consecutive critical words. You should avoid plagiarism. So you should always put your text within inverted commas from where you have copied and give a proper source or reference from where you have taken that text. As you all can see, there are 11 types of plagiarism. So we'll take up one by one in the next few slides. So first type of plagiarism is the ghost writer. The writer writes everything from copies from some other person, some other's work, word by word, and says that it is his or her own work. So that is the ghost writer. Photocopy, the writer copies significant portions and important text and does not tell from the source from which he or she is copied. Another type of plagiarism is potluck. The writer tries to disguise the plagiarism and copies from several different sources, make up sentences, try to fit in one another, and retain most of the original paraphrasing. So that is potluck. The poor disguise is another type of plagiarism where the writer retains the essential content of the source. He or she has altered the paper's appearance, like you cannot detect, by slightly changing the keywords, the phrases, and you cannot say that this is somebody else's work. You will feel that this. Another type of plagiarism is the labor of laziness. The writer takes a lot of time in paraphrasing most of the paper from other sources and all fit them together instead of spending the same energy, same time in writing his own or her own work. Next comes the self-stealer. Like your own work, your previous work, you copy in some other new text. This is violating the policies concerning the expectations of the originality adopted by most academic institutions. So whenever you're taking your own work also, you just try to give in reference. The forgotten footnote. The writer mentions as an author's name for a source, but neglects to include the specific information from the location from which this reference has been taken, and tries to mask, like what does not want to tell from which location. So that is the forgotten footnote. The misinformer, the writer provides inaccurate information like from where he or she has taken the data. The too perfect paraphrase. The writer properly cites everything but neglects to put quotation marks. Although attributing the basic idea to the source, the writer is falsely claiming that this is his own work. He has copied from somewhere else, but without quotation marks, and he or she tries to give. The resourceful citer, the writer properly cites everything, does paraphrasing, put in quotation marks. Paper contains no, and still the paper is not the original work. So this type of plagiarism is very difficult to spot because the person has well researched and all fit, taken care that all the things are in proper place. But then also it is the perfect crime. Here the writer quotes and cites sources in some places, but paraphrase other arguments from those sources without citation. In this way, he or she tries to show that it is his own material and he has not cited it. Presentation of your work is a very important means of communication. It strengthens the communication skills. So the way you present your work goes to the mind of the people and There are two methods of presentation. One is oral presentation and the other one is the poster presentation. Points to be kept in mind at the time of your oral presentation. Consider your audience. Try to connect with the audience. Use an appropriate method of organization. You are well organized as to what and when you want to say. Write your entire talk beforehand. Don't leave things for there and then. Never read a prepared talk word by word. So insert a few words with sentences which are of your own and try to communicate. Observe your time limit and always try to choose the answer and questions and queries at the end. Try to complete your presentation and welcome everybody for any queries at Do not speak too rapidly. Take pauses while speaking. Speak in short sentences. Never rush into things. Do not swamp listeners with details because everything is mentioned in your slides. So don't try to put in more of material. Make eye contact with the audience. Use a visual aid like PowerPoint presentation, transparencies. Earlier we used to make transparencies and now the latest trend is PowerPoint, which is very helpful. Rehearse your presentation in advance. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes the man perfect. If you keep on practicing, you just give your best. Show enthusiasm for your topic. People should not feel bored when you are giving the presentation. So try to make them connected with you. As you put in each slide, have in mind that you just have to say just few one or two important points. That is why that slide is there. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been there in the presentation. Only say those points. Be always prepared for questions. Check out the facilities and the equipments well in advance before beginning your. The second type of presentation is a poster presentation, where you just make a poster that is just single slide. There are different slots wherein you have to put in your graph, your text, your drawing, your photograph, everything in one place. And there are dimensions of the posters which are specified, and you have to make your poster in that particular dimension, and then you just stand behind your poster, display it, and be prepared for any questions which the audience or which the people going around ask you about your research work. Thank you so much. I feel that this presentation is helpful to you in presenting as well as writing scientific